Alright, there's the target, 1,776 yards. We're going to go 26 elevation with a 2 mil wind hold. Impact, 1,776 yards, D.O.P.E Zulus. Impact, 1,605 yards, D.O.P.E Zulus, 6 arc.
There you go.
Got her.
Fucking crazy.
1,776 yards, D.O.P.E Zulus, night vision, no IR. Impact, 1,776 yards.
Yep, you got it.
It's at 10:02 p.m. It's dark as shit. Hey guys, so I got a ton of questions on the mile night vision shooting video of how I set that up in the D.O.P.E Zulus. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Alright, so this is the rifle that we were using in the video, and there is our D.O.P.E Zulus. Again, that's just the base model. One thing that you'll notice, as I talked about in the video, we got 19 mils. I'm not guaranteeing that you'll be able to get 19 mils with your unit. However, if you take a look right here, that mount is a 0 MOA mount, but you'll also notice that nifty little guy on top of my rail there. That is a 1/2 inch 20 MOA riser mount, and that riser mount gives me 20 minutes of additional elevation that I can put into that optic. In the US here right now, we don't have very many options for 20 MOA mounts for these yet, or the 35 MOA mounts, which are available in Europe, but I used a 20 MOA 1/2 inch riser in addition to what I can dial into that optic. So right here I have a picture of the reticle, and this is going to be really basic knowledge for some of you guys, and for others it won't be. But if you look at our reticle here, this is the VHR reticle. That's the one that I was using in the shots. These little numbers are measurements, and like I said, this is going to be really basic for some of you, for others it's not. So each one of these longer hashes, these are called subtensions, and each one of those represents 1 milliradian when you're in a first focal plane setting. So what we have is a reticle with measurements, and we need a way to measure the measurements. I'm going to show you that next. So I have here a target that is set up in milliradians at 1/10 of a mil per 100 yards. So each one of these lines is 1/10 of a mil at 100 yards. Now, you don't have to be at 100 yards to use this. All we need out of this is a way to measure our adjustment, and I'll show you that in just a second. So a couple of things to know with the Zulus. First one is you have 26 different 0 settings. So from your base setting, you have A through Z in your 0 settings. From your base setting, you can save that base setting as A, your base 0, whatever you zero that at, be it 100 yards, or if you're doing a max point blank range 0, or you're doing a 36 yard zero on a 5.56, that would be your base zero. Then if you go into B, it will allow you to save other zeros, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second here. So on your Zulus, you're going to power this on, and then once you're powered on, if you long press this button right here, it's going to take you into the next screen that I'm going to show you. So it'll take you into this screen here, and then all you want to do is scroll over to where it says Zero Reticle. Now that'll take you into a screen that looks like this, and if you notice that little blue A down on the left hand bottom corner, that's your first zero setting. You can save that A through Z, so you have 26 different zero settings that you can use. So with the Zulus, we don't have an optic we can dial, but we have an optic that we can change and save 26 different zero settings. Anytime that we are dialing an optic to shoot to distance, all we're doing is we're changing our elevation so that it zeros, so that our bullet crosses line of sight at whatever given distance we're plugging in with our data. And I'm going to demonstrate that right here. So this is an Arkin EP5, and just for shits and giggles, we're going to pretend like at 1,000 yards, our data is calling for 9.1 mils, let's say. And so here is our zero, and we've set that up with 100 yard zero, but our data is calling for 9.1 mils at 1,000 yards. So we dial that 9.1 mils right there, and that's going to put us elevation wise on target, right? So when we do that, essentially all we're doing is, let's say this is our line of sight, and we have a 100 yard zero, and our bullet flight path looks something like this, and we dial that 9.1 mils in. All we're doing is we're going to look something like this. So instead of crossing line of sight at 100 yards here with our 9.1 mils, we're crossing 1,000 yards here. So that all we're doing when we dial in an optic is we're changing our zero to meet the distance that we're shooting at. Now this is a pain in the butt to set up, but I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm not doing it on my rifle because my rifle is already set up. But essentially what I did is I got my base zero. On my base zero for this rifle and this platform, I used a 34 yard zero, which is my max point blank range zero. That's my base zero. I saved that as A. And then I went in 5 mil increments. So B is an additional 5 mils from that base zero, C is 10, D is 15, and E is the 19 mils, which is where I maxed out. But the next picture is a screenshot of how you would do this, and I'll explain as we're going. So when you set this up, you need to be perfectly level in the optic and perfectly level on the target, otherwise this is not going to work. But you have a screenshot here of the overlay my optic looking at the target, and what we can see is we can measure in 5 mil increments on this target and move our optic or our zero, change our zero accordingly to match up with 5 mil increments. So in other words, guys, all we're doing is, rather than dialing like you would on a normal optic, is we are changing the zero. and that gives us the same result. You just need a way to measure that, and put in however many mils you want to use for whatever situation that you're using it for. I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. I am moving into, I have some great content in the works that is going to be away from the Arkin Zulus for a little bit. So I am putting the Arkin Zulus down for a little bit here to bring you guys some other content and work on that. But I hope this helps. I hope it clears some things up in any questions that you guys may have had with the Arkin Zulus and how I set that up. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I will do my best to answer everyone's questions. Thanks. Bye.